Hi, I'm Annabelle, and I'm one of the product designers at GitLab on the Plan team. And in this video, I'm going to walk through an updated scorecard, a UX scorecard for the Epic feature. The scorecard is called Understanding Dependencies as They Relate to a Larger Scope. So I'm going to link to the original UX scorecard video below, and also the issue where I do a step-by-step walkthrough of this. The idea behind this was I did the original walkthrough and gave it an overall score of a C, which means that the frustration level was medium, the task completion was successful but with unnecessary steps, and the steps to complete the task were of average complexity. The goal was over this last quarter to improve that letter grade by a full letter. So from a C to a B. We didn't quite make it. We went from a C to a C+, which doesn't sound that impressive, but we have made a number of really big changes on this Epic page, and a few of the issues just slipped a little bit. I believe they're on track for 12.6 release. So when the attached issues that I've linked on the issue are completed, I think that this will be raised a full letter grade to a C. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and do a walkthrough of Epics. Okay, so the first step is to navigate to the Epic my team has been working on. I've already done that, and this is the Epic. Some changes you'll notice is that the epics and the issues are no longer split into two separate widgets. We combine them into this one. I've been calling it an epic tree, but it's epics and issues combined. So I'm going to keep calling it a tree, and that's what I mean when I say tree. So that's great. It's nice to see them all combined. Now you can see how they relate to each other without seeing them separately. The next step in the original walkthrough was to create an issue. And this was one of the biggest frustrations. You see this add an issue button and you think, great, I'm gonna add an issue. And it says paste issue link. So you have to have the issue already ready to go, which isn't very helpful. So in this case, I'm gonna open up issues in a separate tab because I know I'm gonna need to paste an issue link, so I'm going to need both of these tabs open. So let's see, I will just pick one that I hope I haven't already attached. And grab the link and paste it here. Can't find an issue. This is one of the other frustrations. We have these very vague messages that don't really tell you what the problem is. Okay, that one works. So I just added 12. I'm gonna come back to this later actually. So I added 12. It's closed, it just happens to be closed, but there it is at the top. So that's good, it's what I expected. I added the issue and it's right here at the top. I do see there's a drop down on the Epic. You can add an Epic to an Epic, and it's got a drop down, and I see that you can add an existing one, which looks a lot like our paste in issue, or you can create a new epic within this group, which would be so helpful. I wouldn't have to go and find a new or an epic and then attach it via pasting the link. So this is my new epic. Yay. And there it is. So I happen to know, obviously, because I've been working on this, that we are doing the same thing for issues. It's just not released yet. So unfortunately, that's super frustrating, and you have to do the old method of adding an issue. But adding an epic is great. That was really quick, and I didn't have to go to another tab or a page. And we know that the constant context switching can be a real frustration when working with epics. You have to open many tabs, and it would be nice to see more content right here on this page, whether that means clicking on an epic and having a slide out drawer and giving you more information that way, or maybe a different design, but we'll get to that eventually. So we created an issue and it was added, and it's really exciting. Another way to do it, and this is another new feature which I'm really excited about, is if you create a new issue, and you can fill all that stuff out. The epic shows up here on the sidebar of your issue page. Previously, there was no edit button here. It would just show you the epic that it was attached to. And if it wasn't attached, you had to go to an epic and add the issue the way I just did. But now we have this feature, which is super helpful. And you can just search. You can paste in the link here, or what most people, I'm guessing, will do is search for their epic and add it that way. It shows up there. It shows up in the system note. And if I refresh it, it should also be right here. So that's really helpful. The fact that it didn't exist before was a big frustration. So we've done the attaching the issues. The next step is reordering the issues. This was also available previously, but since the widgets were separate, you couldn't create a really cohesive hierarchy. So now if I just start moving things, I can move them however I want. Maybe I want all closed issues to be at the bottom because they're closed. Maybe I want epics to be at the top because, I don't know, in case you do. But like I said, you can do any order you want, and that state will persist if you come back to this page later. So it's old and it's new. The fact that we can reorder between issues and epics is really exciting. And I know it took a lot of back-end work, so I'm really impressed by the team. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm kind of going off of my original workflow, but one of the other confusing parts that were sort of introduced by this new layout that it didn't exist previously because the feature just didn't exist either, is this counter isn't accurate. It says 4 epics and 7 issues, and I happen to know that I have other items in these tree, in these top level items. So if I click one, the number changes. Click it again, the number updates. There's an issue to fix this. It's confusing, and even I've been caught out before. We had an epic with 100 items, and I thought we were trying to keep it at 100. It turns out it just shows 100 at a time anyway, but because we only show 100, the counter says 100, and then you click load more and it'll show the rest. This is for performance reasons, but we are going to get a static total count right here. And the tooltip will also be updated to show how many are open and closed. Another pain point that didn't exist previously because the items were separate is these icons are kind of vague. This is the, I'll zoom in, this is the epic icon and this is the issue icon. If it's green, it's open. If it's blue, it's closed. So if you're a colorblind user, you're not going to be able to really tell the difference, and that's not accessible and it's just not good. So we do have another open issue, which our visual designer has been working on for a while to update these icons so they are not reliant on color at all. They'll be different for open and closed. They'll make a lot more sense, and it'll be great, and they'll be updated on, you know, the top bar and the sidebar and everything. So that's another little frustration. The other feature that we are still working on is reorganizing within this view. So right now, I can move my epics and issues around, but I don't know why that's not opening there. I can move them around, but I can't move them into other epics. So if I want this issue to actually be within this epic, I can't. I can just move it above or below. So you have to kind of stay on the same level. that you're on. You can move them within their respective sections. So these can be switched, but I can't move anything into it. When we finally get that going too, it'll be really helpful for, quick epic generation. You can create everything at the top level if you have an idea, and then you can just start rearranging right here in the same view. So that'll be really helpful. That's the reordering. That's the hierarchy. And I guess that's it actually. So yeah, like I said before, it just moved from a C to a C plus. This tree view, it was a lot of effort, and I think it's really helpful and more useful than the separate widgets. But once we continue iterating on it, I think that it'll become a B, and then hopefully it'll move into the A range when we figure out how to be more contextual on this page. So we don't have to keep switching and going to different pages and moving around. You'll just be able to see all the details that you need to right here just by clicking on these things. We also added a check if you want to remove items, especially important if you're removing something like this, because it's got many nested items and it could really ruin your workflow. So if you want to remove it, you can. If not, you can just cancel it. So that is the whole workflow. The frustration level, task completion, and steps to complete task didn't change either. It kind of stuck the same as before. That's it though. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you all enjoy this new feature.